U.S. only, 18 or older, ends 2/5/16. Void where prohibited. Coach Love is back to transform a nation of hopeless men into hopeless romantics. And Sport Clips Haircuts has just the game plan for you, with a chance to win cool prizes, too. See the rules and enter at sportclips.com/Coach Love. No purchase necessary. U.S. only, 18 or older, ends 2/5/16. Void where prohibited.
Today on Mike and Mike.
One of the major topics, of course, today, Mike, is the fact Calvin Johnson apparently has told the Lions he's done.
Megatron, just an absolute stud. They're definitely going to miss him.
Would you say you made 114 or
114 million?
114 million. That's a lot of cake. People are tuning in less and less. We need to freshen it up.
Right.
They need a hook. They need an eye catch.
Chad's jumped the shark at this point.
The NHL All-Star Weekend was better than the Pro Bowl. Love it or shove it.
I love this.
Are we kidding?
Yeah, I love it. It was awesome.
It's time for Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
'Cause you make me feel like I'm alive again.
Great to have you this morning on Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance. I'm Adnan Virk, the captain, in for Greeny today alongside Golic. We're getting lots of feedback today, and keep it coming on our Twitter line at Mike and Mike. The biggest issues right now. One, people want to know about my beard, which is because I grew this because I was filling in for Greeny.
What has that been, 6-7 months?
You know I could grow a beard overnight if I needed to.
Yeah.
This is 1 week worth. Randy Scott tweeted that this is my Serpico beard. And I'm a big Pacino guy, so this is my Serpico beard. People are wondering if I'll shave. If I get some Dollar Shave Club razors, I'm in. I'll shave tomorrow.
Okay.
So that's a really
I'll give that to you. I want to see you nick yourself up.
I knew there'd be something negative with you that you wanted to see.
Yeah.
Also, we want to know suggestions with regards to fixing the Pro Bowl, because Mike and I both saying it's an absolute sham and nobody enjoys watching it.
Ratings are going down, been going down for the last 3-4 years, so going to have to freshen it up somehow, some way.
Give us your ideas and how you think it can be salvaged. And by the way, our friend Dan Dockich, who does a tremendous job on college basketball, he also texted me to say he's trying to get a lot of work done, but the prop bet thing has him completely
Prop bets are fantastic.
So he's already laying down money right now on what Steph Curry is going to be wearing, whether that's a personalized Carolina Steph Curry jersey or Cam Newton or any other Carolina jersey.
Let me just say this.
Yep.
Mike and Mike, we're going to have some new power today. We're going to change the money line because we have Steph Curry on today at 9:10 Eastern, and we're going to ask him. We're going to ask him what he's wearing.
We're trying to make some money, Steph.
Yes.
Help us out here.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. We're going to talk some NBA right now, though. Our friend Tom Thibodeau in the house. Great to see you, Coach.
Thank you.
One of the first things I ask these guys, and this has probably gone on since the beginning of time, and people always want to know, is it Thibodeau or is it Thibodeau? It is indeed Thibodeau, but it's always Tibbs. How many times do people screw that up on a daily basis?
It happens, but you're right either way. So
Have you stopped caring whether
you're right. Yeah,
just as long as they're calling
in
you?
French, there is no TH, so you would be correct either way.
Oh, okay. Oh, I feel all right then. So
See, that's you always going to the French, you know.
I like that.
That's
Yeah.
how you roll.
At some point, if I screw it up, it's just my French side.
There you go. Yeah, the
All right.
French-Canadian thing. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. I'm huge in Montreal. You know that. Let's talk first about Cleveland, because you know I'm not going to shut up about the Raptors, the fact they've won 11 straight. So we'll do the business that most of America wants to hear about, Coach. And the fact that with Tyronn Lue coming in there now as the head coach, how do you think, are they actually going to be more up-tempo? Do they have the personnel to make this work? I mean, Kevin Love faces so much criticism. Some thought he should have made the All-Star team. Others point to the fact he has some defensive inaccuracies and issues there. But do you think that Tyronn Lue can run this offense the way they want to, more so with that personnel?
Well, I give Ty a lot of credit. When he was first hired, the first thing he said was that he wanted to be more up-tempo. And then the first adjustment that he made with the lineup was putting Tristan Thompson into the starting lineup and putting Moskov in with the second unit. And so what that did immediately, it added a lot of speed. And that changed what they're doing and how they're playing. So it's a much faster team now. And when you look at what they're doing at the power forward position, you see Kevin Love is now at the power forward. He starts there. Then they come in with Jefferson. And then at some point, LeBron's going to be at the power forward position. So you're not going to see Tristan Thompson and Moskov together like you did before, and those type of combinations, or a Love and a Moskov where they don't have the speed. And then at the center position, what you're seeing is they're starting off with Tristan there. Then they come in with Moskov. And then at the end, they were putting Kevin Love at the center position, which creates all kinds of problems. And that's where you saw the pick and roll with Kyrie just almost impossible to guard.
How tough is, I mean, because you're talking about a complete change of philosophy here. You know, this was a team that under the 100 possessions, their record was, you know, a nice winning record. Over 100, it was not. Now they want to flip-flop that. Obviously, if you're going to push it, you want a ton of possessions. How difficult is it to change the philosophy, and how much of it can you get taken care of in practice, or is it mostly practical application actually in games doing it?
Yeah, well, it was a significant change, but it was also subtle because those guys are familiar with the positions. And then I think the big thing is when you look at LeBron and you look at his career, he's always been a very highly efficient player with the offense. And the pace has never been high with him, but it's always been highly efficient. And now when you add the speed to it and you spread the floor out a little bit more, it's that much harder to guard. Now, what you are sacrificing is the shot blocking and the rim protection with Mozgov and the overall defense. You're smaller, but you're also a lot faster.
Talking right now with Coach Tibbs. This is an interesting issue, I think, with regards to David Blatt. And people talked about the fact that he said he didn't believe in resting guys during the season. And I think it's one of the smartest things that Popovich does, the way he uses Tim Duncan and tries to give him a break where he can. But as a coach, do you believe in that theory of guys, like Tim Duncan's a special case. He's an outlier, he's a great player, been playing so many years. Do you believe in giving guys a night off here and there? Or do you say, listen, you're a professional NBA player, we expect you to play every game and be available at all times, and you'll just have to make it work?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest responsibilities of a head coach is how you pace your team. So, and then you have to look at the makeup of your team. Who are they? Are they at the end of their careers? Like, if you look at what Pop has done in San Antonio, and he's been masterful, but if you look at the early on in Duncan's career when he was young, he was playing a lot of minutes. Mm-hmm. Once he got into his mid-30s, those minutes came down. He's done the same thing with Parker. He's done it with Ginobili, and that's smart. But I think if your players are younger, if you look at LeBron and what he's done, he's always been a big minutes guy. And now he's starting to take his minutes down some. So if the player is younger at the beginning of his career, maybe you don't rest him quite as much. Mid-30s, and you're trying to prolong it. You see it with Dirk in Dallas. His minutes are down. But if he's younger, you're probably going to play him a little bit more.
The way, you know, sports can be a copycat, and we see what Golden State is doing with the smaller lineup, the run and the pass and the threes. You see, and as Bill Parcells famously said, you can only play with the people you're getting sent from college. And you look at a guy like Buddy Hield from Oklahoma who's just knocking down threes left and right. Is this the direction the NBA is going, or is it too easy to say, oh, we all need to play like that because they actually have the horses, does Golden State, to play like that? Do you see a model going forward where teams try and be Golden State, for lack of a better term?
Well, the NBA is somewhat similar to the NFL. It's a copycat league. But I think the good teams, you're going to look at your personnel and you're going to ask yourself, what are the strengths and weaknesses of the team? And let's play to our strengths and cover up our weaknesses. Golden State is so unique. You have two of the greatest shooters of all time in Steph and Klay Thompson. And what makes them so unique, you also have a player like Draymond, and there's no other player in the league like Draymond in the sense that he does a little bit of everything really well. And they have the ability, if they're behind late and they go to their small lineup, when they go super small and Draymond is at the center position and Andre Iguodala is at the power forward position, the one thing that they don't do is they don't sacrifice their defense and their rebounding. Most teams, when they downsize like that, you're giving up your defense and you're giving up your rebounding. Now, when you couple that when Golden State goes small like that, because of that defense and because of the ability of those players, when they defensive rebound, they get out and trail. All of them can bust out with the ball, and that puts enormous pressure on your defense. And that's where you see Klay and Steph, they're almost impossible in transition to stop, particularly if it's a scramble situation. So I think, to your point, Mike, and when I look at San Antonio now is going back to playing more of a power game. And when picking up Aldridge was huge for them, and when you add in Duncan and Kawhi Leonard, the way he's playing now, they're taking less threes, but their defense has gone through the roof. And so that's the one thing about Pop. When he had Duncan and David Robinson, they played a power game, they played great defense, and they won championships. Then when David retired, they shifted more to Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, and it became a more open game and shot more threes. And now picking up Aldridge and shifting more to Kawhi, it's become more power and great defense. So I think you have to look at your team and ask yourself, what's going to give us our best chance at the end to win? I think if you try to copy Golden State and you don't have the personnel, you're not beating them in the end.
Mike and Mike Armani, if you missed any of the show, including our conversation with Steph Curry in Hour 4, you can listen to all 4 hours of Mike and Mike on demand on the ESPN app, and now you can subscribe to our Best Of podcast. It's all available in the Listen tab of the ESPN app. Adnan Virk in for Greeny alongside Golic for Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. The moment of truth now, Coach. You know,
Go ahead.
You know what's going to hit you now. The Raptors, I'm from Toronto, have won 11 straight games. Now, back-to-back years now, we've seen playoff disappointments. The team's been great, especially last year. They were first place around this time, and then they ended up slipping in the playoffs. Couldn't even win a game a year ago. There's 2 concerns I have here. Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, starting backcourt. First time a host city's seen that since 1972 in Los Angeles. But both those guys haven't gone to the next level in the playoffs. My other concern is front court play. Now, Valanciunas, I think, is a good player. He has talent, but again, is too inconsistent. You wonder, can they get enough from Patrick Patterson, et cetera. Do you think the Raptors, even with those concerns I have, are a viable threat to Cleveland in the East?
I do, because they're so well balanced. And they made 3 great additions to their team to build their depth. When you look at Corey Joseph, Damari Carroll, and Biyombo has been terrific as a backup center, and he's filled in quite well when Valanciunas went out. And you have to be able to have that depth. And when you look at their offense and their defense, I think they've separated themselves in chasing Cleveland. I think Toronto and Cleveland are the top 2 teams right now in the East.
Fantastic. We're going to get Tibbs the Canadian citizenship the way he's going.
Unbelievable.
NBA All-Star
Week. You got anything else?
I was going to say also, NBA All-Star Weekend going to be in Toronto. You want me to pick you up anything, by the way? I'm going to go back home.
I know where Greeny and I are not doing this.
How are you guys? I thought for sure Celebrity Game, Mike and Mike. I will go be a trainer. I'll be a towel boy, whatever you need.
Kevin Hart and Drake. Who are the coaches, which will be just fine. So those are the 2 teams. Where is Chicago in this? They're next, obviously, in the as far as seeding is concerned in the conference. They're sitting in the 3 slot, 8 games out of the Cavs. You know, I guess part of that, Joakim Noah, just talk about the losing that guy. I loved watching that guy play. Sometimes not the prettiest thing in the world, but, man, you knew what you were getting out of him and just where they are now.
Mike, you're making a great point about Joakim, because his statistics don't reflect his true value to the team. He's one of those guys. He's the heart and soul of the team. When you lose somebody like that, you're going to lose toughness and you're going to feel it. And sometimes you lose sight of that and what a guy like that means to the team. The big thing for them is their health. If they're healthy, they're capable of beating anybody. If they're not, it's going to be a struggle. And when you look at that next tier of teams, you can make a case for all of them. The Atlantas, the Bostons, Indiana, Miami, and the dark horse in it all, to me, is Detroit. They're young. Reggie Jackson and Andre Drummond. Yeah. You got point guard center.
Put him on the line.
Oh, there you go.
32%.
Yeah, no, but he's terrific. He's only going to get better and better. And they made some great additions. Ilyasova, Marcus Morris, tremendous. Caldwell Pope's having a great year. They're a team you got to keep your eye out on.
Let me ask you this, because we mentioned Andre Drummond, a rebounding machine, but awful at the free throw line, and obviously Jordan out with the Clippers as well. And we know all the hack-a-player and all that conversation going on. And there are those that say, do these guys even practice free throw shots? So you can say it if you want, if there's a name to it, but the worst free throw shooter you ever coached, how do they practice? I mean, so what? Where's the disconnect? Is this just purely a mental thing?
Well, historically, if you looked at centers, they're nowhere near the best free throw shooters in the league. So we would break it down by position, and if you get a center that can shoot in the mid-70s, that's really good. And there's been outliers. There, like Yao Ming was tremendous, and he shot technical fouls for us in Houston. But there's there's a lot of theories behind it. But they do. We had Chris Dudley in New York, and he would spend hours after practice, and he'd make, and it's just they work at it, and some people feel it's the size of their hands and things like that, but you try to do the best that you can, and I think some teams they're getting clever. If you can get the 1 out of 2, it's still a decent percentage play, and then you start adding in the free throw plays that you'll put in to give yourself a better chance at the second shot, to offensive rebound it. So there are things that you can do.
But if they're making them in practice, and then I feel it's got to be, listen, we know sports is mental as well as physical. I mean, are sports psychologists getting involved in these things? Because it's just amazing. You can just see the smoke coming out of their ears at times. And I don't really mean it in a mean way, but it's the way it is. When they start missing, I would imagine it just really weighs heavy on them and becomes just a mental phase.
Yeah, I think the big thing, like oftentimes, and most teams now have a shooting coach. And there have been some players who have improved. I think Brendan Haywood, when he was in Washington, improved 1 year significantly. And I think the big thing is with the big guys, because of the physicality underneath, and when they do get hit, they have to really calm themselves down before they go to relax before they shoot. And sometimes that gets lost in it a little bit.
Also want to ask you, Coach, I mean, by the way, one final thought on Andre Drummond. He's shooting 35% from the free throw line. That'd be on pace to be the worst.
Yeah, Wilton was 38%.
Wilt has the record at 38%, although he has a lot of other records.
Got a lot of records.
A lot more note as well.
A lot of records.
So Phoenix makes a move here, Coach. Jeff Hornacek does have a lot of records, both on and off the court. 20,000 of them. Jeff Hornacek fired as the Suns head coach. Now, this is interesting to me because they're 14-35 this season. Only a couple years ago, he was doing a fantastic job, and that was one of the stories, the fact that Phoenix was in contention for that 8th seed in the playoffs. I think they had 48 wins the 1 year. It was really challenging to actually get in the playoffs, but you saw what a turnaround they had. How can a coach go from such a high to all of a sudden now losing his job?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Jeff is a terrific coach, and he's a terrific person. So you hate to see it. I think in our profession, sometimes things like that do happen, and when you dig a little deeper, you see that he's had a lot of injuries this year. Bledsoe is out, Knight is out. Chandler was hurt early on in the year, and he was exceptional. That first year, the 48-win season, they were very hard to play against. And I've had an opportunity to talk to Jeff on a few occasions. Class person, very, very knowledgeable. So, it's unfortunate, but it's part of this business.
They're sitting there with 30 and a half games out. So, I mean, they're not coming back. And it's a coach that gets fired. We've seen it before. Is it bad for the coaching profession what went on with David Blatt to go to the finals, to be the top team in the East, and then during the season get fired? Is that bad for the coaching profession?
Yeah, I think you hate to see, coaching changes, period, in the middle of the season, and on either end. And, but you never know what goes on behind the scenes. And unless you're there, it's probably unfair to comment. But overall, for the coaching profession, I don't like to see that. And you'd like the guy to have the opportunity to get through the season, because over the course of a season, a lot of things can happen. You might be in the midst of, a tough part of your schedule where you've taken on injuries, and all of a sudden you get healthy, the schedule changes, you're playing at home more, and now all of a sudden you reel off 8 or 10 in a row, and everything changes again. Mm-hmm. So, I think to allow the whole season to unfold, then take a step back and evaluate everything that occurred. I think as a coach, that's your normal process. You get through the season, then you evaluate it, and then you say, okay, these are the things that we'd like to improve, these are the things we'd like to change, and these are the things to think about for next year.
Tom Thibodeau joining us right now in studio here on Mike and Mike, ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Before we let you go, I'm always curious, coaches come here. I'm assuming you'd love to get back into the game. But is this something you've always wanted to do, work in the media, just hang out with Mike Golic? Is this like something you can knock off the list here?
Yeah, this is bucket list. Doesn't get any better than this.
Hang out with
wow, is his nose growing right now? Holy smokes.
Is that Pinocchio or Tim right now?
You'd never want to be, or any place you'd rather be, huh? Wow.
How about a favorite hobby or interest outside of basketball? Because I always look at you guys as lifers, yourself, Van Gundy, et cetera, like your X's and O's. What do you do to unwind?
Yeah, this year has been interesting. It's been a lot of fun because you're getting a much broader view of the game. You're not involved and you're not locked into your team. So you take a step back and, I find myself in October I visited with 10 different teams. So that was a lot of fun. You get to see a lot of different ways of doing things. You get a lot of good ideas. And then after that, it was, it slowed down a little bit. You get time to spend with your family, Thanksgiving and Christmas. I haven't done that in 25 years, so that was a lot of fun. And then, you're working out. But the thing that I do enjoy is when I am watching games now, our league is in great shape. There's great games every night, and the young players, they added so much to the game. And I think where our league is and what Adam is doing is it's been great. And then for myself, I'm relaxing, recharging, working out. Going to some movies. I'm the king of the matinee.
Oh, nice. Hey, what did you see? Because Mike's going to review Dirty Grandpa later in the show.
I've not seen that.
Don't.
I saw Kung Fu Panda 3 with my kids yesterday. I don't know if that's
So what have you seen lately?
Yeah, Oscar. Spotlight? Phenomenal.
Very good.
Revenant.
Excellent.
Phenomenal.
Big Short.
We're so funny.
Yeah.
Audacious.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've seen? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Look, you got time on your hands. You do things.
You're locked
You
in
do
the
Many movies alone in my
You need more. You guys need more balance.
We're going to have you on for the Oscar special now, Coach. I like it. Tibbs turned Oscar prognosticator. We'll get you. By the way, of these prop bets, which one do you like the most? The Steph Curry? Well, the jersey we'll do later on. Which color liquid do you think will pour on the winning coach? Orange, blue, clear, yellow, red? Do you have a take on this?
I'd say orange.
Right.
Orange is the best odds, right?
That's always the best odds.
Yeah,
Plus
yeah.
125.
I'm going green.
Green could win you $1,000, man.
See
I'm
that?
telling you. Prop bets.
Is that plus 1,000? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
stuff
Prop
out.
bet. What are the odds Coach Thibodeau comes back to Mike and cannot wait to work with us again?
Yeah, how about it?
Plus 1,000, he'll be back.
Come back to Mike or go watch a movie. We'll be at the movie.
We'll see you at the matinee, right? Thanks so much, Tim.
Thank you. Thanks
of course,
for
you can see him continuously on SportsCenter, NBA Tonight, and on Coast to Coast as well. Cassidy Hubbard, the entire NBA team, always doing a sensational job. We'll talk with our friend Jeff Saturday coming up next, not only about how to fix the Pro Bowl, but also what is media day or media night going to be like. That's coming up momentarily.
It can be difficult to protect your identity in today's digital world. If you have free credit monitoring, you may think you're covered. But unfortunately, that's only going to show if there's a problem. It doesn't fix anything. It's like your favorite football player tearing his hammy. All his doctor says is, hey, you got a bad injury there, and then doesn't do anything to fix it. That's why you need LifeLock identity theft protection. LifeLock both watches for identity theft problems as well as works to fix them. LifeLock doesn't just tell you there's a problem. It has a U.S.-based team who's going to get to work to fix it. Of course, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. LifeLock helps protect your identity with membership starting as low as $9.99 a month, plus applicable sales tax. Call or visit LifeLock.com. Do it now and experience the LifeLock identity theft protection that free credit monitoring cannot give you. Use the promo code Mike. Promo code Mike, you're going to receive 10% discount exclusively for our listeners. We're back after this on Mike and Mike.
Still to come, he's got the hottest handle on the hottest team in the NBA. Don't miss Steph Curry live with Mike and Mike at 9:10 Eastern today on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Adnan Virk, the captain, in for Greeny today alongside Golic, Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Jeff Hornacek fired as the Suns head coach, as first reported by Yahoo Sports. Phoenix is 14-35 this season. That is tied for second worst in the West. Calvin Johnson, Megatron, ton the Lions. At this line will roar no more. 2015 will be his final season, which he just completed. That's according to our friend Adam Schefter, who believes that indeed is going to be the case after 9 years of stellar play from Calvin Johnson. We'll see you in Canton. And John Scott named the NHL All-Star Game MVP. The enforcer, what a great story this was. He plays for the Montreal Canadiens after a trade, got sent down to the AHL, but the fans voted him as a fan favorite. He ends up scoring 2 goals, the first player in hockey history to have his first career multi-goal game.
Great story, except if you're from the league and the way you handled it.
Another reason not to like Gary Bettman, the way they tried to keep him out of that game. That's SportsCenter, brought to you by H&R Block.
Refund season. Come into your local H&R Block office. Let their experienced tax professionals help get you every dollar you deserve. Your maximum refund is guaranteed.
Great to have our friend Jeff Saturday joining us now. Once again, Mike and Mike presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our guests joining us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Jeff is kind enough to be with us in studio. All day we've been taking a hit here at the Pro Bowl and the fact that it's just not a very good game to watch, quite frankly. So lots of
shocker.
Yeah, exactly. Not enough contact, not enough violence. Here's one of the suggestions. As a guy who knows the game obviously very well, having played it many years, the whole point is this. You're not going to have guys going full out. It's not going to replicate true football because nobody wants to injure anybody or hurt them. Therefore, since you can't actually change the game or the motivation of the game, add a skills competition to give the fans fun, which has worked in the NBA and the NHL. What do you think?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I completely agree. And, it's still a great game if you enjoy highlights, because that's what you're going to get, right? You're going to get highlights. People who are expecting tackling, I'm just going to be real. It's hard enough to get guys to tackle in the regular season. Guys make business decisions in the regular season. You know what I mean? You'll look at that and go, I'll wait till next week to make that play, right? I mean, so to get for a game that means absolutely nothing and that you could potentially be hurt, contracts are not guaranteed, why take the risk? It doesn't make sense. And I understand people get upset about, well, it should be more physical. But that's not the point of that game. That game is not a competitive game. It is to go out, enjoy the time, celebrate being an all-star, and then go have fun and rip it up and everybody stay healthy and clap and hang out with your family. It's not about the competition.
Listen, baseball is a non-contact sport, so you can play it.
Right.
Basketball, it turns into a street game, which is great. It's unbelievably entertaining to watch. And hockey, while it's a very physical game, you can play it 3-on-3 and show the speed and not have the hitting involved. You can't truly play football without a collision on every single play. And there are those that are mad at these players for it because even when you played, I think it was a little tougher, played a little tougher.
Right.
And before you, it was played, it was played like a hard game. And there's a lot of people that are ripping these players. I don't want to be in that category because I get it.
Right.
I mean, why should you go there and try and drill someone or get drilled and then have to rehab in an off season? It's crazy.
It does not make sense.
It is crazy. So what do? Do you turn it into, some people say just name the all-star team and then don't do anything. Well, no. I mean, listen, you're on the all-star team, you take a nice trip,
Absolutely.
You get treated well. So what do? Do you play a flag football game for the receivers and the quarterbacks? Do the linemen do something different? I mean, I think it's about time they think of something way out of the box.
Yeah.
Because to try and do this game just isn't working anymore.
No,
just
and I love the idea of skill challenges. And I will say this: offensive linemen love skill challenges too. So you can put us in the mix because we may shock some folks. You know what I mean? Well, don't let me go run a route on a linebacker because I might embarrass somebody. I give a little option, a little head fake, come out of it, make a catch. I may never stop talking.
I used to host the lineman challenge.
Yeah,
that would be out there, and they would do they do hit a sled, do incline, do different things. I wonder if guys would want to do that.
Absolutely.
Or wacky, things like that.
Because here's the deal. You want to have fun, and you want to celebrate being an all-star. All that is great. But go out there and just give fans, because I don't think you ever want to take the game away. I actually enjoy part of it, but do things around it that make it more fan-friendly, where people can get involved, and see that kind of thing. I think that would make it more.
I love the idea, though. Jeff Saturday joining us right now in studio, Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, of, like you said, a lineman doing non-conventional things. I thought you were going to say, Mike used to call strong-est man type stuff.
No.
Bench press with
no,
actual. I want to run a route. I want to show you what skills I can do.
Yeah, go watch pre-practice in the NFL, like on a Friday or something. Pat and go. Every lineman wants to be in that lineman. We want to run. We want a one-hand catch. We want to Beckham that thing, right? I'm trying to make one-handed catches. We love it. I mean, in the practice, we want to throw the ball to hit the goalpost. We still think we are athletic. And listen, to the world, we are athletic. But when you're compared to the greatest, they'll go, oh, he's not as good. But we have some fun, man. A lot of these guys who play line have played other positions, and they want to show their skills. I think people would be entertained. And that's what it's about. It should be about entertainment when you go to the All-Star game. It should not be about a physically demanding smash mouth.
That's the thing.
You only got 3 practices with a brand new staff.
Right.
It's hard to dial it in.
Yeah. Someone saying NFL contracts aren't guaranteed. A reward for making and playing in the Pro Bowl should be the player's next year's salary is guaranteed. No, I'm not getting into all of that. I mean, because a lot of that is still the physical play of getting hurt. And the one thing, any teams that aren't playing in the playoffs, and God knows you were in the playoffs just about every year you played, so it wasn't really for you, but for teams that aren't in the playoffs and aren't going to the playoffs, man, what do players at that end of the year not want to do?
Right.
Get hurt.
That's exactly right.
I mean, and have to spend that offseason. Now it changes from a regular offseason to a rehab offseason.
That's right.
It's the last thing in the world you want to go through.
That's exactly right. And people, people don't understand that the anxiousness you have when you're not going to the playoffs, getting in those final 2 games. There's a lot, especially guys' contract year coming up. I mean, there's some anxiety that goes through because you've built up. The last thing you want to do is catch something the wrong way, and you got to go out there and go full tilt because guys who go slow and try to slow it down are the ones who usually get it.
Right.
So you got to go full get.
ESPN NFL analyst Jeff Saturday joining us in studio, giving us the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, half the cost. Had to ask you about this, Jeff. Only one offensive lineman making the Super Bowl top 50 list. Mike Webster at number 20. Not enough love here to the offensive lineman.
That's kind of hurt. Webby obviously deserves it. Listen, if you're going to give it to him,
to the one guy,
to one guy, I would say how many did Larry Allen play in some?
How many Super Bowls did Larry Allen play in? Because
how he doesn't.
Let me tell you
list.
what. Larry Allen. Now Larry Allen got in the league as I was leaving the league. Thank God.
Yeah.
That's a full-blown man right there.
Yeah.
Strong lifting. I mean, sometimes you have weight room strength that doesn't transfer to the field.
Yeah.
And sometimes you had field strength that doesn't transfer to the weight room. He had them both.
It's called strumpf. He got strumpf.
I like that.
And he could have played guard, tackle, wide receiver, fullback.
He was in Super Bowl 30 for the record.
He destroyed people.
Did they win it or lose it?
Won it.
They got to give it to him. I've said this before. There may need to be a special place in Canton just for. This dude was unbelievable. I used to watch tape when I first, because I was coming in the league as Larry was progressing, and I would watch him. And it just in amazement. I would rewind it and just think to myself, he knocked somebody down. I don't understand how you knock people down.
Yeah.
I knocked somebody down maybe once or twice a game. Yeah. Every play, he is laying the hat on somebody. He was absolutely unreal.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. No one remembers, this week, I'll give you an example. This weekend on Sunday will be decided. The interior 3, most likely, of both teams, offensive line-wise, will decide this. No one will talk about it. It won't ever be. But the reality of our game is, the pressure is going to lie on the Denver Broncos interior 3 and the Carolina Panthers interior 3. Whichever group plays better will carry their football team. But no one will talk about it. It'll all be, Peyton, Tam, receivers breaking play.
That's how it is at the O-line.
Yeah.
The O-line is always the part where it's tough for, in my opinion, it's tough for people outside of the game to kind of quantify what they're doing out there and how to judge what they're doing.
How well they've played.
Yeah, it's exactly right. We can watch and say, okay, that should have happened here and there, but others you just kind of say, oh, a name guy, a guy who's been to a lot of Pro Bowls, or a guy that looks like he's, knocking people around. And there's so much more to it. It's very, very intricate, for the non-athletes.
Yeah, we've got time.
I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Most athletes. We consider ourselves the extra skilled guys.
Yeah. I was going to say, we have a platform here, but it is a national radio show, national television show. We could talk next segment about linemen, but we're not. We're going to ask Joe Saturday about Peyton Manning. Your thoughts on Peyton Manning coming up next. It could be one last rodeo for one of the all-time greats. That's coming up next.
Leave the playoff beards of the pros. Kick off your year with a fresh blade shave. Join DollarShaveClub.com. They know that the key to getting an amazing shave is very simple. 1, use a fresh DSC blade. 2, use their Dr. Carver shave butter. That is it. DollarShaveClub.com delivers amazing razors to your door for a third of the price of the major corporations. Use that fresh DSC blade with Dr. Carver shave butter if you want the most gentle shave imaginable. Join DollarShaveClub.com. That's DollarShaveClub.com. Back after this, Mike and Mike.
Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
This car is automatic. It's systematic. It's hydromatic. Why, it's greased lightning.
How good is this crew? Special request here for Golic, a little Grease Live. With the dance moves right now.
Oh, so good.
Brought out the show, baby.
Yeah.
Guys and dolls, you'll see Mike Golic performing next, whatever one you want. Grease bringing back some memories for you. Adnan Virk in for Greedy alongside Golic. Jeff Saturday's in the house as well, our NFL analyst here as we continue on Mike and Mike. As always, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our guest joining us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Jeff, thankfully, is here with us in studio. Also, in case you missed it, Calvin Johnson, in terms of NFL news, telling the Lions 2015 going to be his final season. Adam Schefter joined us earlier in the show. Of course, you can always listen to that by downloading the podcast. SportsCenter brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Other wireless providers say they will cut your bill in half, but who knows what kind of coverage you will get. With Straight Talk Wireless, you get nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks, and their no-contract unlimited plan is only $45 a month.
So as we get ready for now, we're in Super Bowl week, Jeff. But when you were involved in this and you'd have that week off, talk about that week. Talk about the administrative part of this and what you needed to accomplish in that off week.
Yeah, I mean, as you're leading up, obviously you're celebrating a huge win, and everybody's excited. You know you don't have a game coming up on Sunday, so practices are intense. You know you're laying the groundwork and the foundation. But to your point, there's so many extras, right? How many tickets you're going to get, what hotel you're going to stay at, your travel itineraries, what the food is going to look like while you're down there. You get the strength coach talking to you about, for us it was John Tureen. Hey, we were in Miami, so hydration was a huge key for the week leading up. And then once you get to Miami, how that's going to change, what that's going to look like. Bill Polian would get up and address the team and talk about, hey, this is what the expectations are. But there's a lot of moving parts. You're getting a ton of phone calls from family, friends. Hey, I'd love. They think you get free tickets unlimited, right? Yeah. Ain't nothing free in the NFL, right? Yeah. So what you got to buy it. You got to get you, and it's such a difficult thing because players, the older you get, obviously, and the longer you play, the more people that you want to get, and then the young guys. They're trying to, maybe make a buck or two on a couple tickets.
Right.
Not that they're allowed to do that.
Which, of course, is completely illegal and never
happens.
Wink, wink.
So you might be making some negotiations in the locker room, but it's like people always talk about it. Saturday, the week before the Super Bowl, so 8 days before, basically ticker brokering's off, right? I'm done.
Right.
This is where it is. If it hadn't been decided by now, it's not going to be decided. And most guys, honestly, including myself, I left it to my wife, Karen, to handle all of that. And she is magnificent organization. I'm terrible, so I would tell all my buddies, call her so you'll know where you're supposed to be.
Right.
You'll get the tickets, actually, because if I'm in control, nothing's going to happen.
So from what and guys that have played in the game, they've all said to a man, this, as far as the game itself, as soon as you get it to be playing like a regular game, the better off you're going to be. But preparation is so important. In those 2 weeks, can any of it get to be like your routine, or is it so out of routine because 1 week you get a bye, you're putting in the game plan, the next week you're spending a whole week in a different city?
No, we honed it down pretty well. We got it where I felt comfortable. We basically copied, and this was Tony Dungy my first time and Caldwell my second time. But the schedule, what it was, it stayed that way. And so Tuesdays looked the same, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Friday. And so when we would come, it really did become habitual. It was like, hey, this is what it's going to look like. Here's where my film study is going to be. I did the same thing. I stayed late on Wednesday night, watched extra film. Thursday was blitz breakdown with the offensive line. And then when you got out there, now the one thing that I appreciated about having the extra week is the polishing. And so for example, I feel like defenses have an advantage when they have an extra week, right? Because now they're seeing what your tendencies really are. Right. When you have them on a short week, it's hard for defense. They have to play more vanilla because they haven't seen everything you do. When they get that extra week of prep, you better understand they're going to be on point. That break on the ball is going to be quicker. Where that linebacker lines up, he's not going to give it away quite as much. He's going to stay out because he knows your call is going to be adjusted. All those little intricate details really do become magnified in the big game because you do have it. So that polish week, the second week, the week they're entering now, is extremely important. It's not about how much time you spend on the field. It's the little details that are ultimately going to be deciding factors because it is, in my opinion, an advantage for the defense to get that extra time to prep for an offense.
Jeff Saturday, NFL analyst, currently in studio with us here on Mike and Mike, ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Steph Curry, Warriors superstar, coming up 20 minutes from now. We'll ask him about the Carolina Panthers. He's a huge fan of that team. For many years, Jeff, Peyton Manning was your guy. I think if you're nostalgic, if you're sentimental, you would love to see him win one more Super Bowl. And yet, as strange as it is to say out loud, it feels like for many, if the Broncos win, it's not going to be Peyton Manning leading the way. It's going to be their defense. It's going to be ball control. And he has to limit turnovers and make some smart plays. It's not necessarily enough fuel in the tank, but how do you think Peyton Manning matches up against this defense? As Mike said earlier, Carolina was 6th overall with that defense. For all the talk about Denver's D, Carolina's is very good as well.
No, you're exactly. I thought one of the comments I heard Peyton make was a perfect comment. You know, he talked about that the defense has led this football team, and he makes no bones about it. This is a defensive-led football team. The offense has got to pull their weight. I mean, and that's reality. You have to make plays offensively, and that means he's going to have to. I appreciated the way they came out against the Patriots. You know, everybody thought they're going to slow this game down. They're going to hand it off. You know, every time he comes out, and he throws balls everywhere. Right? He's going to get the ball out of his hand. He's starting to make throws. He's making those reads. I don't think it's any different against Carolina. The one thing I think is different about Carolina is you have to run the football, not even for effectiveness, but you have to keep them honest. So it has to become a game where even if it's a yard gain, a 2-yard gain, ugly running, continue to do that. Trust that the way that you keep this team honest is by pounding. Because if you let those 4 guys up front come off the ball on your offensive line, it's a long afternoon. You put Peyton back in a shotgun the entire game, it's going to get ugly because they'll close the windows. They're so fast. They disguise so well with double A-gap blitzes, and guys can be able to rush 3, drop 8. I mean, they are a solid defense, which is tough. So make it ugly. I mean, make it an ugly game the same way they did against the Patriots. Make it ugly. You will break a run at some point if you keep grinding in the middle, keep smashing up in there. But again, I talked about it earlier in the show. Those interior 3 offensive linemen, they have got to play well because with Starr and K'Wan Short, those guys in the middle for Carolina effectively rush the interior pocket and any quarterback. I don't care if it's Cam Newton. I don't care if it's Peyton Manning. You got somebody coming down in your face to hit you. It changes the dynamic of your throw.
I want to finish up in about 30 seconds. Most athletes, average to great, can't be honest about their own mortality in sports. Can Peyton?
I don't think. I mean, I think, like you said, it's hard. And here's the thing. You know, I'm glad he hasn't decided anything. I'm glad he's riding this thing out because I do think he'll make a much better decision. But play till you don't want to play anymore. It's not coming back. That's the fact. Everybody wants it to go out storybook, and if he wins, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But at the end of the day, ride it till you don't want to play anymore because it's never coming back. You're never getting another shot to do it. Once you walk off, it's done. So play until you don't want to play anymore. Your legacy is cemented. Going in the Hall of Fame, what else do you got to do?
If the Broncos win, does Peyton Manning retire?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know.
Call him and ask him.
Okay. I got you.
Let us know.
I'll let you know today.
Exclusive story coming up. Steph Curry, the Warriors superstar, coming up next. Adnan Virk in for Greeny. Mike and Mike.
Coach Love is back to transform a nation of hopeless men into hopeless romantics. And Sport Clips Haircuts has just the game plan for you, with a chance to win cool prizes, too. See the rules and enter at sportclips.com/Coach Love. No purchase necessary. U.S. only. 18 or older. Ends 2/5/16. Void where prohibited. Coach Love is back to transform a nation of hopeless men into